80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. Welcome to Living Your Life Well Planned, the 80-20-365 success system and its inventor, my pal, Adam Vincent Gilmer. My name's Gene Velitis. I'm your host on these podcasts and video podcasts, and welcome back. Here we are at episode number 60. As always, go to Adam's website, get your daily planner. You're going to need it for this free course, and you're going to love it. It's a book that'll be by your side 7/24. You may even take it to bed with you. Put it on the night table and read it before you go to bed. Well, you have to score your day. So it's important. Also, check out the bank system here on the website. It's a brand new language for selling. And if you're in any form of sales, direct sales, regular sales, if you're wanting to understand your children even better, check out the bank system. It's all and more. And if you want to know more about the bank system, you can go back to previous episodes where we have the inventor of the system, and we spent about I think it was 3 or 4 episodes going over the whole program. It's so worthwhile. So you can check those out as well. Today, I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time. Both Adam and I are readers, and we study, something that you should continue to do when you get out of school. You got to keep learning. You got to stay abreast of everything. You want to stay ahead of the curve. So Adam has 21 books in his bibliography. And if you would like to get a copy of the bibliography, go to Adam's personal website. That's adamvincentgilmer.com. And the bibliography is easy to find. Trust me. If I found it, you'll be able to find it. Yeah. Okay, Adam, here we go. Let's talk about these books in no specific order. As I mentioned in a previous episode, I've read a lot of these books, but there's a couple here, especially book number 1, that I kind of said, oh, that's interesting. So book number 1 in your bibliography is the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin.
Correct. So all of you probably know what a $100 bill looks like. So I found it interesting that most people refer to the dollar bills, the ones, the 5, the 1, the 2, the 5, and so on and so forth. We actually have a $2 bill. We don't use it much anymore, but it does exist, believe me. But here's the thing. Those are referred to as dead presidents. And, when we were immigrating from South Africa to America, one of the things you have to be conscious of as you go through immigration is, how we got started. Okay, as how the United States broke away from British rule. Okay, and then you have the red coats, the blue coats, so on and so forth. What's really important that you understand is, when was Benjamin Franklin a dead president, Gene?
I don't know.
Never. Okay, he is dead, but he was never a president, and yet the the United States decided to put on the $100 bill, the biggest bill that we have, a person who was not a president. So that caused a question in my mind to say, why is he on the $100 bill when all the other bills are, dead presidents? And now he was a statesman. And what's really great about Benjamin Franklin is that when you read his autobiography, he was all about making specific changes to make this country one of the best in the world, or could it become one of the best in the world? And what's really great when you read the book about the man, you find out that just like you, just like me, just like our listeners, he had to make change. And part of his, it's funny, he's faced with choices like we all are. And the questions are, he would rather have, I love this. This is how you build a massive sales organization, how you build a big, huge company. He would rather have put the people in office than be the person in office. So he learned, and back then I can talk about the 80-20 rule. Back then it wasn't probably written as the 80-20 rule, which is what my personal philosophy is around. It exists everywhere in all kinds of numbers, meaning 20% of what you do equals 80% of the results, and 80% of what you do only gives you 20% of the results in life. So what he learned to do, what I gleaned from the readings, besides some of the other choices and going back and forth country to country, he learned to make He learned to put people, he learned to delegate and put people in positions where he didn't have to be. And that's what I took away from his book, which to me, that's the highlight for me. There's lots of other things that I remember from the book, but that was the highlight, meaning that he'd rather have a close friend or somebody who is like-minded, like we talked about in the other episodes. He surrounded himself with people on the same mission he had. And he put people or suggested people be put in office and be put in place. And that's led to what, the country that I wouldn't say the country we become today, but definitely the country we had up to 20 years ago.
Okay. The next book on your bibliography is my all-time favorite. I have probably read this book maybe 300 times, and I'm not exaggerating. It's Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And if you've never read this book, what I always tell people is you can take a look at every self-help book ever published. This was published in 1932.
Mhm.
Every single one is an imitation of Think and Grow Rich.
Right.
It's the granddaddy of them all.
I actually have several copies of Think and Grow Rich because I've gone through it so much. And once again, if you haven't read this book, and by the way, it's available in all languages today, it's a way for you to change your personal philosophy. Better than that, it was really the first time that somebody said, let me go and interview successful people and what they're doing. And I'm talking about the billionaires of the time back then.
Yeah.
Maybe they were worth, hundreds of millions of dollars, which would be equivalent to billionaire status today, or maybe even trillionaire status today. And when America was going through a time of Great Depression, and you have to look at things, and your life, you might be depressed now. Jim Carrey talks about what the word depression means. It means you need to have deep rest and step back from the character you're trying to become. If you haven't seen that, go look that up on YouTube. It'll give you some insight to Think and Grow Rich, because you've got to be authentic with yourself. You got to be real. You got to show up. You have to practice these 13 principles that Benjamin Franklin practiced, but so did Napoleon. And not only did he do that, but so did the titans of industry. And what a great way for you to have a foundation book to be built upon everything else that's going on in your life. And there's a reason why that book's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing because it speaks to you, and you're like, You get all these great moments which you can record in your planner, and actually really build the foundation of your new belief system moving forward in life.
Yeah. Published in 1932, still as applicable today. It's really amazing. We got a lot of books to get to, so we'll go through
something else on that book I want to just talk about. Several years back, I actually made a movie. I became the executive producer of a movie that is all based on the 13 principles. It's called Millionaire, Awaken Your Secret. There's a gentleman named Martin Dunkerton who's down, out, and broke in the United Kingdom. He gets a copy of the book, and it's on YouTube. You can go look it up, Millionaire, Awaken Your Secret. And I produced the movie. I funded it, I put stuff together, and we got distribution rights to it. And I loved it so much because he actually practiced these principles. And you'll see, I end up giving him a very big check in the movie, which helps him make his life. And he practiced all these principles, and it became real. So you can have the same thing happen. Sorry, back to you.
Yeah, no, listen, a great lesson. This one's a no-brainer. Success through a positive mental attitude. W. Clement Stone and our pal Napoleon Hill. I mean, do we really even have to say anything about that?
Guys, look, I mean, these are, when a building is being built, it's not above the ground that is the most important, although that's what catches the eye. And people say, man, I want to live there or have an office there or whatever, or becomes a landmark. It's really what's beneath the ground, because that's the foundation that's holding this great building in place. And I put a post up on my pages the other day that said it's just the number B positive, okay, B plus. And just so you know, it's not my blood type, and it's not my math grade, but it is my mindset. And from reading, when life throws things at you, there's a way to react good news, bad news. Sometimes it's hard news and it's devastating. But you have to realize that, this consciousness that we're in keeps moving forward. Even going to sleep at night is an illusion, because really the sun's shining all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So your foundation of what you're creating for yourself is, there's going to be hardships. There's going to be crazy decisions made that you're not a part of. And you have to learn how to have a positive mindset around all these things taking place. And by the way, if you go and look at what Clint Stone did, and also what Napoleon did, they really became the first, in our time frame, the first life frame, the first mentors of saying, here's what's working. And it's amazing. You get people today and you put them in a room and you say, listen, you can have them all do positive thinking and or start to think positive, and do this in our 3-day workshops. And what happens is you can literally change the electricity setting in a room. Also, when people go to church or pray, what have you, a whole bunch of people getting together and praying, what have you, literally changes the vibration of that room. And that's what we're talking about doing, having different vibrations take place in the body and to move you in a direction towards your goals and dreams. And that's why I put this list together.
All right. The next book is actually by a very good friend of yours, Mark Victor Hansen.
Yeah.
And Mark Victor Hansen had some influence on Adam Vincent Gilmer. You figure out what I'm trying to get across there. And it's his great book, The 1 Minute Millionaire.
All right. So, you have to look at how people make decisions. If you take a look at any of the, billionaires, multimillionaires online, right? They're accustomed to making decisions like this. Okay. They may sleep on some things for a day or two, run some things around their mastermind team. Once again, Think and Grow Rich mastermind team, but run their ideas around some of the other people they know, like, and trust, the people on the same mission or their board or what have you. But they're used to making decisions. And the biggest challenge in life is that a lot of people procrastinate. Okay. Actually, the books you just mentioned, I'm willing to bet that the majority of the listeners, haven't even read these yet. Okay. And they're hearing me talk about them and you bringing them up. And guess what? They're still like, oh, that sounds really good. Okay. Do yourself a favor, go get the books, because it's going to allow you, and you don't have to get them all at once, get them one at a time. Just go through it. Just get on a knowledge, keep putting knowledge into the brain, see what happens. And, making a decision quickly, moving your life in a direction is important, because what people don't realize is that they have limited time. Okay. Meaning that, let's just say, you're going to live to be 100, just as a generality for everybody. Okay. And so how much you want to glean out of those 100 years? As much as you can. Okay. So you need to start making decisions fast, because the clock is ticking for you. Okay. And by doing so, you start to move your life in a direction. Even if you made a mistake, you can recover from it much, much quicker by having the millionaire mind decision made up very, very quickly.
Okay. I'm going to just run through a couple of books. You don't have to comment on them, and I'll come down to one where I do want some comment. And like I said, go to Adam's personal website, adamvincentgilmer.com, and you'll get this whole bibliography. 5 is Nothing Down by Robert G. Allen, great book. 6, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Awesome book.
Yeah, awesome book. Earl Nightingale formed the Nightingale Conant Publishing Company.
Correct.
In the 50s in Chicago. And they were the first company that came out with self-help books, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, one of their first employees was this guy from Toronto, this skinny guy with blonde hair. What's his name again? Oh, Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor became the #1 salesman with Nightingale Conant, and of course went on to fame and his own book. But man, that's such a great book, isn't it?
It is, and there's something I want to say about that. And I think I mentioned this whatever year it was when we were doing this one of the episodes. But I found out that my mom used to listen to a radio show when he was publishing, and while I was a kid in her belly. Okay, so I'm not saying that I could understand it or listen to it or what have you, but the point is that I had parents that think this way. And and for most people who don't know, my family, I'm the oldest of three brothers, and we have a wonderful stepsister. But just so you know, the three brothers were all multimillionaires. We all run our own businesses. We're all married. We all have kids, and we all live, I want to say, the American dream. And some people think, well, that's an accident. No, these are some of the things that were done on purpose. And what you put into your head and what you practice, in person, can make amazing things happen in your life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me just go over a couple more, then I'll get down to one we need to talk about. Number 7 is Raising Positive Kids in a Negative World by Zig Ziglar. Great book. A Rich Man's Secret, Ken Roberts. Love that book. The Mentor by Jack Carew.
Awesome.
The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. That's a really interesting book. I like that one a lot.
Me too. Really fast, about an attorney who is, overweight, stressed out, realizes that what life's about, and makes some changes because I think he has a heart attack, from what I remember in the book, and makes some massive changes and basically realizes, there's a better way to live.
Yeah.
And that's a great book.
Number 11, Acres of Diamonds by Russell H. Conwell. And again, another great book. Number 12 is You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. Now, as I've mentioned on these podcasts, Bob was my first number one mentor. I've worked for him. He's a really, really good friend. Now, the interesting thing about Bob Proctor is he was a high school dropout. A family friend got him a job in the Toronto, Canada firefighting department in Toronto. He was 26 years old, skinny. He was completely broke and owed a lot of money. And a friend of his said, Bob, you're never going to make it in life. And he handed him this book, the number 2 book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And his friend said, Bob, there's a secret in this book, and if you can find it, you'll be successful. Well, he found it, and then he wrote You Were Born Rich, which is a great book. And Bob's just... he's one of the masters. Check out the movie The Secret. Enough said about that one. You know what? Here's a great one for people. It's a wonderful analogy book to demonstrate how people get into their comfort zone and they refuse to leave it. And that is Who Moved My Cheese? A great, fantastic book.
Look,
I mean,
everybody thinks in life, and I remember this thinking, the agenda against yourself is really in your head. Okay. And what that means is that, people actually, most people want to see people do well in life. Actually don't really care. And we make up this personal thing like, oh, the opportunity was taken away from you or moved around or what have you. Like, and listen, it's not that way. You didn't get the promotion or what have you. Listen, life is a struggle, people. And the way you get better at handling the struggle is by developing your mindset. And these books give you insight into making that happen. And that's why I put up on my social media, I said, if you want to have a similar mindset here, I got way more than these books in my library, but the point is that that's not the point. The point is these help shape the person that I am today from an early foundation. Great.
I'll go over a couple more. The Art of Closing the Sale by Brian Tracy. Great book. The Psychology of Winning by Dennis Watley. Live Your Dreams by our good old pal Les Brown. And if you ever get a chance to see Les Brown at a convention, he tells the story about how he became a DJ and having been a guy on the radio for years myself. I love that story. So if you ever see Les, I hope you get to hear that story. I want you to talk briefly about this book because I know it's a guiding principle in your life by Richard Koch, and it's the 80-20 principle.
Listen, that book is, I got several copies of that book actually. And the reason is most people don't realize how this philosophy works. And, it just does. You got to look at the numbers. And I'll say it again, 20% of what you do in your day, okay? The full 1,440 minutes or 86,400 seconds, which is how many seconds are in a day. 20% of the time you spend equates to, the great things that are going to take place in life. And then 80% of those, of 1,440 minutes or 86,000 400 seconds, the trivial many where anybody can do, it's not worth spending time on that stuff because you can get somebody else to do it. So stay focused on the highest payoff activities. And what Richard does is he breaks it down for you. And he doesn't just give you the one example I gave. He gives you 40 or 42 examples of how this applies, okay, in everything. From top salespeople to planning, to organizing, to planting, to plants, he breaks it down for you. So you actually see behind the curtain, okay, what's happening. Then, you're going to ask yourself a question. Why have I been doing this? And that should be one of the books that every junior high, 8th grade on, okay, should start to read. Because we want our kids, and we inherit the earth from our children. We want our people to be productive, and this is how it's a must-have in your library.
Yeah. Book number 18. Well, it's an all-time classic. I think most people have heard of this one. It's by Norman Vincent Peale, and it's Why Some Positive Thinkers Get Powerful Results. Number 19 is by Robert H. Schuller, and that is Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do. Interesting. I lived in Huntington Beach, California for 11 years. And I remember somebody said to me, you got to go to the Crystal Cathedral in Anaheim, just down the road from Disneyland. And this guy was telling me all about this Crystal Cathedral place, and I about it on TV a couple of times, and he was broadcasting. What I discovered though was he founded his church, and it was like a drive-in movie, and people would come to church and put a little speaker on the window like old-fashioned drive-ins, and that was his church. And then he built this unbelievable Crystal Cathedral. I remember the first time I walked into that place. It takes your breath away.
Right.
And I got to talk to Schuller at an event once, and wow, this guy came from nothing and soared right to the top. So that's a really good book. Number 20, Just Like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, is a book that I have read and reread and read and reread. And you know what? I can't recommend this book any more than Adam can, but it's The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. Talk about that just for a little second. Because, man, you know what? That book blew my mind. Somebody gave me that book, and the first time I read it, I phoned the person who gave me the book, and I just said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Where has this thing been all my life?
So, every one of these books that we're talking about have these little gems, little aha moments, little seeds of greatness in them. Some of them have more than one seed in greatness. But what's really good about The Greatest Salesman in the World is it shows how a lonely camel boy, his name is Hafid, wants to win the heart of a maiden, and realizes that he's just a camel boy. He picks up camel dung and he feeds the camels and waters the camels, and that's what he does. And he realizes that the person he's working for is Pathros, has one of the largest trades happening in the Middle East, trade caravans, empires. And what he goes to Pathros, who's the CEO of the caravan, and he basically says, I want to win this girl's heart, but I'm just a lonely camel boy. And like all true leaders, when somebody is showing, it's based on love, somebody showing, real determination, they want to become somebody in life. Pathros says, okay, I'm going to give you a robe to sell. And it's based on, Christian principles. And what's really great is it takes place in the Middle East, which most will know, isn't Christian. But the point is, you see this melting of belief systems, and then there's the scrolls, and the scrolls really helped me change my life because it tells you how to live each day and what you have to do. And if you just get that book on the list, it's going to lead you to want to get all the rest of it. It's an amazing story. It's a quick read. It's not very, very big book, but man, life lessons beyond. It's amazing.
Yeah. The final one on the bibliography, book number 21, is The Holy Bible and the Dead Sea.
Dead Sea Scrolls. I didn't. I know on my Facebook page I didn't pop early, but just so you know, there's a reason why I suggest the holy books. Okay, and I have a library of all holy books, and there's a reason for that. I like to see what develops people's belief systems. Okay, and if you're like me, most people know. Like, listen, I believe that we're more than this consciousness. Okay, when we pass. I believe that we, in essence, go back to source, go back to God. And at the end of the day, if you think about the majority of the wars around the world, okay, they were all fought over religion. And I got to ask everybody, and I've got people in my sales organization that are pretty much every religion of the world, and atheists as well. Okay, so here's what I ask people to do. I'm like, listen, there's nothing wrong with taking in knowledge based on world history and also some facts, and learn to read this stuff. Now, some of the stuff is hard to read, okay, because when it was translated, it's hard to read. But at the end of the day, your life is complicated. Okay, and to get uncomplicated, sometimes it's good to read something and put it into. I've read these books cover to cover. In fact, I've got highlights in my book, pencil lines. I use a ruler on some things. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. It's like these learning things. But it's good to have, once again, strong foundations on belief systems, and this helps you shape that.
There's Adam's personal bibliography, 21 books. That'll give you enough reading for about the next 6 to 8 months.
Absolutely.
If you would like a copy of that list, it's easy to get. Go to Adam's personal website, which is his name, adamvincentgilmer.com, and really easy to find. I would highly recommend that you get Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og as your first two books if you've never read them. What about you, Adam? What's your go-to number one?
My go-to number one would probably be Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I think that's an amazing foundation. And then, Staying Positive in This World. I think that's an amazing book because we're going through a lot of stuff right now, right? There's people that are, like alienating people because they didn't get the vaccination or did or whatever. I'm like, listen, you know what? At the end of the day, it's so funny. We've got all this separation taking place. And just so you know, currently, we only know that we're on this one little marble, right? One world, right? So just so you know, every family around the world is faced with choices and decisions to make. And our biggest thing is we got to show people some love and come together. Nobody's better than anybody else. People have, different circumstances going on in their life, but I think, staying positive and being a source and a venue for good stuff is going to make a massive difference. And let's not judge all these people. Let's go down the road and make it through. And I think staying positive is one of those things. So I think those are my first 1 and 2 for right now. But you got to get all of them, and then don't stop. You'll get on this kick that's like, let me go get all multiple books. Yeah. Not even on this list.
This was a really cool episode. I enjoyed this one a lot.
Likewise.
All right. Like I said, you can get the big bibliography at Adam's personal website, adamvincentgilmer.com. And if you don't have your daily planner yet, go to 8020365.com, get your daily planner, and also check out the bank system. When we return, episode 61, we're going to give you one incredible thing you can do today to kickstart your business. For Adam Vincent Gilmer, I'm Gene Velitis. This is Living Your Life Well Planned. 80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. 80-20-365, living your life well planned.